Hello and welcome everybody to Black Crow Gaming's live stream. We tried to stream this a little bit earlier and we seemed that this didn't go very well, and I'm probably going to end up having to do this again, knowing my luck. Anyway, finally joining us tonight, we've got the man with the voice. He's no longer been attacked by Nurgle's rot, and that is Stephen. He's finally back, the sexiest voice on YouTube. Are we live? Are we live? Oh, fuck. We are live. You know what, Stephen? You're just trolling right now. Anyway, we're gonna get back to this. We've also got joining us two new faces who I promise we are more professional than this. We've got Simon, who you might have recognised on our Black Crow Gaming Bat Rep earlier in the week where he did great. He is a Space Wolf player, and all I can describe him as is just a massive furry. And our other guest we've got tonight is a man who's as big as you're going to see. He's the biggest voice, which yeah, he is. He's the biggest voice you're going to see in any room at a tournament, and he's the closest you're going to get to a Brian Blessed impersonator. From the south, we've got Gareth. That's very fucking true. Oh my God, we've got 2 minutes in, chaps. 2 minutes in, and we've already sworn. There we go. This is how it's going to go. Anyway, so tonight we are going to be talking Meta Monday. We're going to be going through the meta. We're going to be talking about these chaps' experiences at the LGT. And as always, I'm going to pass you over to my co-host, the man with the sexy voice. Get your right arms ready, boys. It's Stephen.
I don't run meta lists. I'm that much of a Space Wolf player. I write the list that I enjoy the most. So my list, bring it up now.
I can take you through it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
although I am just hearing
Simon.
What?
Nice to see that you were prepared, Simon.
I am hearing from an outside source that it might be only Arron that can be heard right now.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
So it might be worth us checking that.
Yay! My swearing didn't go live.
Oh dear me, let's check this out first and then we'll carry on. Otherwise there's not much point in us talking. On the live stream now. Arron, can you check it at all? Is Arron gone?
I'm here. I'm trying to get trying to get it working. We're not having much success with our technology tonight, folks, and I'm very sorry about that.
As long as I
I
look
can
here,
hear you
it's fine.
talking.
His message tone keeps going up.
Oh, no, I heard people. I heard other people, so let's just see if it's...
Okay. We can hear everyone now.
That's
Excellent.
what we want. Okay, carry on. Where were we? That's where we were. We were going to go through Simon's list.
Yeah, Space Wolf list.
To the LGT. Now, I have
No,
it
you
here.
didn't swear.
Well done, Gareth. Well done.
What do you want, a fucking cookie? Let's carry on.
Yay! Man, I want to die.
Oh, dear me. Well, I have the list here, and I can take you through it, or you can take us through it. What's easier for you?
Either or. It's your channel. It's your channel.
You run with it, Simon. You take us through it, because you're going to get names right and things.
Right, so I ran. Oh, I always hate this one because Gareth always corrects me. The apothecary biologist. I always get it wrong.
God, kill him now.
And I took that solely with the enhancement of Bolt Discipline. I ran my Space Wolves as what's the word I'm looking for? Standard Space Marines. Yeah, no, Standard Space Marines. I didn't take this
The Gladius
Gladius
Task
Detachment.
Force.
Yeah, Gladius Detachment. because for me it's almost impossible to achieve everything under the Space Wolf detachment. And especially at a tournament like that, if the wind blew on a Tuesday, there we go. I'm lucky and I might get one of my thingies going off. But so I ran it as a Gladius. So I took the Apothecary with the enhancement Bolt Discipline attached to my Aggressors, which is seeing the most standard Marine list at the moment. It's the only thing that's ever so slightly meta in my my list. Bjorn Fell-Handed.
Right, that's what you said.
Oh no, I do well. I mean, most of my lists are always Dreadnought heavy. I run Dreadnoughts more than anything. If I could, I would have taken 12 Dreadnoughts to LGT.
Can we just also, somebody's phone is going off in the background. Can we just turn that off, maybe? Who's the naughty one? Who's being naughty? Who is it? Put your hands up to it. Accept it. Is it you, Gareth? Is it you?
No, it's not me. Not me at all. I turn mine on silent because I was prepared.
The most southern accent on it. My God. Okay, we're going to carry on telling us about this list.
All right, then we went with Bjorn Fell-Handed, Assault Cannon Heavy Flamer. I love Bjorn, mainly for the fact that he has half sword damage coming in and a 5 up Feel No Pain, and the fact he has that lovely the same ability that the Kaleidus Assassin has, Ancient Tactician, where he uses stratagem and it makes him cross colours. Sorry, Gareth.
Just helping. Helping you along.
Where once per battle you can basically make this CP cost one more than it is. Then on top of that, I took 2 Iron Priests, basically mainly to heal and buff my Dreadnoughts.
Yep.
Can I just add this in, because I think this is going to rage you, and this is from Jimmy No Mate. Only good Bajourn is a dead Bajourn. How do you feel about that?
Harsh.
Yeah, harsh, man.
But true.
That's what I love. To be honest, I mean, I love Bjorn. I mean, I'm a big Space Wolf, as everyone knows. It's the only army I've got. I don't have any other 40k army.
Really?
Yeah, no other 40k. I've got 44,000 points of Space Wolves.
Hence the furry comment.
The what? How many points?
Roughly 44,000. I've got 28,000 painted, and the rest is built. And then I've got, as Gareth will attest to this,
I have seen his shame. His shame is vast. His wife is pissed. It is, I'm
You know what?
pretty sure you could choke a fucking rhino with it.
The thing is that the whole time you're saying that, you just sound like you're talking about his penis size. And then right at the end, you're like, you could choke a rhino with it. And now it's just made it sound like he's on like a fucking horse.
I'm just gonna go now.
It fits.
Oh dear.
What happens on the weekend stays on the weekend.
That's a lot of points. I mean, that's a lot of points. So I guess any army you wanted to put together, you're basically good to go.
Yeah, pretty much. I literally have pretty much 3 of everything, and when I don't, I sell it to the likes of the guys at our club, or if they need bits, or like when Gareth comes to me going, "Can I have a look in your bits box?" Which is about six boxes. 6 boxes all divided up into arms, legs. Yeah, anything I can put together, I've already got the stuff to do it. Like especially with like the new, everyone's talking about the new White Scarred attachment and running wolves. I've literally got 18 Thunderwolves ready to go. Sat right behind me.
Perfect.
So
yeah, we did wait from your list. Yeah, let's go back to it.
So I took Grey Hunters and Intercessors. Obviously, I took the Intercessors mainly for the sticky objective. I took the Intercessors for the fact that their native ability of advancing and being able to shoot. So it means they can advance and do an action without having to be in a tactical, without having to be in a doctrine. I then went with obviously the Aggressors, then 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, Eliminator Squad, Eradicator Squad, 2 Fenrisian Wolf Squads, mainly just because I had 60 points left, and 2 that are really good for just nipping around and going on objectives. Yes, they've got no OC value, but they're good at doing secondaries.
Even holding a back place, yeah.
Yeah, and they're good for screening out. And then 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, because I do love my Dreadnoughts.
So 5 dreadnoughts in total, right?
6, because Bjorn as
6.
well.
Oh, of course. Didn't think of that. Yep.
I have written a list that I can get 12 in.
Nice.
I can get 12 in.
Is that
and then
ballistas dreadnoughts?
yeah, Ballistus, Redemptors, Venerables, Wolfen, Murderfang,
Nice.
Bjorn.
You got to run that. It sounds so good.
We're running an event in November, and I'll be taking that list.
Perfect.
Oh, you're
And
actually going to
probably
play
under the
this
new
time?
Iron Hands detachment. I'm planning to play. It all depends on numbers, obviously. The whole thing of with the club running these events is I don't want to take it away from the players. So if there's space, then yeah, I'll play. If not, I won't. But obviously, if there's space is left, then yeah, I'll be buying a ticket and I'll be playing myself and running a full Dreadnought list, like I did at our PAW this time. And I had to face off against Manny in the last game and lost by 3 points.
Yeah, that was close.
What was he running
Literally
at that
down to
time?
a dice roll as well.
Yeah, it was down to one. It was down to one 5-up honourable save on Manny's behalf, and he made it, and he won by 3 points.
What was he running at that time?
He was running Dark Angels. It was obviously literally the end of. It was the end of 9th, so it was back in February.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And then the last thing on my list is just the Calidus Assassin,
Calidus, the faithful.
which I got to admit I don't actually own one, so it's Gareth.
Well, at one point, remember when you could run 14 of them in a 2,000 point army? I was that fool. I ran 14 of them. You know, when rule of 3 wasn't a thing, and you could just take many execution forces for 450 points.
14 assassins.
Yeah, I was that asshole. Yeah.
I was going to say because your list also has a Calidus assassin, so
It does.
so that makes sense how you had another one. You had 14.
I do. Well, I've boosted them over the years because I got 2 kids, and you know when Rule of 3 came in, and then Epic Hero, and now you can only have one. You know, because of some asshole taking more than one. Me. Not me specifically, but you know, I'm one of those guys. Yeah, I've let my daughters have them over the years, and they can paint them however they like. So
Nice.
Nice.
So,
14 though, like I can't even imagine when that's useful.
well, remember when the Turbo Penetrator was good, and you go, "There's 4 Vindicator Assassins, see what Bane Blade." Fuck that guy. You know, just, you know, you're taking wounds, boy. You're taking wounds. So yeah, it was good.
Nice.
I'm actually running the Vindicator Assassin at the next event at Curtin Games in Crediton.
nice.
But that's a chat for later on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll run through your list as well, and then we can do is go back on first rounds, second rounds, and so forth. So you took the Grey Knights this time.
I'm the same as Simon. I only like one army. I've tried many variations. I have a demon army. You know, I've tried both sides of the coin. But if I was to do it, I would have gone full Slanesh if I wanted to. But didn't like the style of gameplay, unfortunately. I like the Grey Knights. They're not Space Marines, in my opinion. They're their own thing. So fuck anyone that says they're Space Marines.
They're really close.
Yeah, they don't like Space Marines. They think they're assholes.
They're the last army that's allowed to run firstborns, and it'd be fine.
Yeah. It's okay. You know, I didn't get shipped off into the land of fucking Nod like everybody else. So yeah. But no, I ran 3 librarians. One of them had an enhancement because I had points left over. It had the DLD, which is it's the enhancement. It's the Dominate Liber Demonica. It's a stupid bloody name, but you know, GW strikes again. Basically, it gives you +1 to wound, and if you're going against a demon, it gives you +1 damage. So it was just
So that was a points thing rather than thinking you're going to come against demons.
It's the chances of a librarian getting into combat slim to none, especially in the way I read this list, because it was a case of I need to do maximum damage by taking librarians. We all know that they're dicks. They basically ignore lone operative. with their mortal wound output. And when they go off, they go off. And if they don't, they don't. It literally is glass hammer. It either works for you or it doesn't. They score points well. They score investigate signals quite well, along with the assassin. You know, it runs pretty good. Then I took Castellan Crow, a 10-man purifier unit with Castellan Crow. It does wonders. It really does do wonders. I completely forgot one rule throughout the whole bloody tournament, which after the fact realised could have won me my game 4, much to my irritation.
No.
So basically, purifiers, the moment they lose a model, they get +1 to hit, I believe. And then when they're at half strength, they get +1 to wound.
Oh.
So.
But then these things happen. Like, you go to these tournaments, you're in a big environment. There's a lot going on, and you're gonna forget things. It's
Absolutely.
It happens. So obviously you both went to the LGT. The environment must have been mental. Now, tell us about how that went. Like, Simon, how did you find your first day at the LGT? Did you bump into a shark tank, or did you?
My first day, and Gareth's going to start laughing in a minute, was rough because during lunch I had to dash across to another part of London to an emergency dentist to have an abscess drained.
What?
In my teeth.
Yes, he did.
And did you get it? Did you get back in time for your second game?
Oh yeah, I came back for game 2 and 3. I was drooling. I got to admit, I was drooling a little bit in game 2. But no, so I mean, game 1, I got paired up with Eldar.
You got 40 points.
Yeah, with a face out here, and to be honest, the heart.
I'm hearing a repeat of my own.
Yeah, so Gareth's doing something because he thinks he's muted us, but we can still hear him.
Yeah.
Gareth, just so you know, mate, that wasn't the mute button.
Yeah, I know. I realised that when I was looking at your faces. We're having the house rendered.
Everybody who's watching the stream, I'm so sorry. For those who watch it in the future, this is the comedy edition. I did warn everybody last week that this would be wild, and it certainly is getting there. Not just because Simon is a furry either. So let's.
He's going to keep comedy with that. He's going to keep comedy.
He deserves it.
It's fine. It's fine.
He deserves it. He can get me back later. He could be like, look, you know, this. I'm basically 90% forehead, and the rest of it is eyebrows. So
even with
emergency,
even with emergency dental surgery, you still managed to get 40 points against the Eldar.
Yeah. So the guy I played against, lovely bloke. I met him last year at Beachhead in Bournemouth. Really, really nice guy. My secondary draws were terrible. He literally, the first 2 turns, couldn't score any secondary points at all. And even he sat there and went, "That's the worst secondary card draw I've ever seen in my life."
Really? But his list is, his list is the horrible. It's, there's a Wayleaper, the Avatar of Cain, the Avatar Yin Khan, Spirit Seer, Farseer. Actually, Farseer's Skyrun is a bit slightly different. But then a Night Spinner, Shadow Spectres, Swooping Hawks. It's just the whole horrible.
Yeah, it was a bit rough, and he was very, very careful how he planned everything. He knew exactly what he was doing. Oh, we've lost Gareth.
We're down to 3.
Gareth is gone.
Bye, Gareth. Gareth's friends where he lives, he has very, very bad signal because he lives out in the back end of Beyond.
Right. Well, we're talking about your army anyway, so it's okay for now.
But yeah, he knew what he was doing. He played very well. I think he went 4-1 last time I checked. I was kind of trying to keep up with him throughout the tournament. But to be honest, it was the first game I was a bit out of it anyway. But it was still an enjoyable game. The problem is, it was like to score points, I had to get my units out. So as soon as I put dreadnoughts out, they were going to get blown away. And obviously, the minute you kill a unit, that Incarn is coming at you anywhere on the board. So I managed to kill the Incarn, but that's about as much. Hey, he's back.
What the fuck happened then?
So yeah, but so my game one wasn't my best game of the event. But to be honest, it was the event as we rocked up. It was, as always, it was well planned. I went over and popped over and saw the X-Wing because there was a couple of other Cross Swords members playing X-Wing, and then I went to go pop over and look at Kings of War. Before my game was over relatively soon. I think my game only lasted like an hour and a half before the Eldar kind of just bent me over and did buy me dinner.
A nice early lunch then. So
He couldn't eat to do his face thing.
Oh, could you not eat?
oh right, of course.
Yeah, so
Oh.
so literally once I drained it, and it cost me £237.
38.
38, sorry, yeah, 38,
Yeah,
238 quid, which is what you want to spend when you're away at a tournament.
Jeez.
And as a good friend, I just laugh like fuck.
So I've just looked it up. You said Ryan went 4-1. I just looked it up. He went 4-1, but the fifth round, both people scored 0. He was on table 4, so he's doing really well.
Then they didn't agree on a score then, so they both scored out.
Must have timed out and argued about it. Yeah.
Was that turn 5?
I don't know.
Do you remember? Oh, Gareth.
It was table 4 against a guy called.
The last event that he did.
Yeah, he had an issue where he disagreed with the point score, didn't he? But this guy was against Martin Cooper, who I'm not aware of, so apologies, Martin. But it was Astra Militarum, so maybe they were just taking a long game. And they couldn't decide. That's a long list. Yeah, I think.
The thing is, though, on later tables, you're forced to use a chess clock for that very reason. So.
Yeah. Especially table 4, anyway, so yeah.
There was a.
So they did
have an announcement right at the end about someone who hadn't submitted a list.
Ah, maybe that's it then.
So
Anyway.
we're going to move on, and what I want to do, because obviously we could be here all night. This is going great. No, so Gareth, your first day, you did pretty well.
Yeah, I soared like Icarus, and then I did very well. I went 3-0 on day one. I played Demons round 1, won by a point. I played Jay Milcott from Mohawk Miniatures, his YouTube channel. Played his Knights, won by a point. See a theme here.
He had three big nights. That's a bit of a. Did you have enough to get through that?
I stayed in combat with my unit of 10 paladins for 9 rounds of combat against 2 fucking knights. 9! Jesus. I won't lie, he was pulling his fucking hair out, I was pulling my fucking hair out. But one of his knights had the enhancement that he could teleport like Grey Knights can do.
Steer's Guardian, yeah.
I kept that bastard in combat literally until turn 5.
Nice.
And I was like, you ain't going nowhere. I can't go anywhere, you can't go anywhere.
Oh, he had that on the Crusader as well. So
Yeah.
He could shoot nothing.
Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
in one round of combat, I literally chinned all of his attacks. Literally, like that. I took no damage. Stood there like I was Billy Big Boy. I was like, yeah, that's right. Could I damage it back? Could I shit? Because I'm wounded on 60. So, yeah, so that was a good game. Very good game. Jay's an absolute gent. Game 3, I played Chaos. I played a guy called Oliver Wheeler.
I can't hear this. I'm not sure my last camera is Oliver Wheeler.
And I railroaded him 100 to 28. I literally denied him nearly everything.
Jeez, on Chaos Space Marines as well.
Yeah. He had the Accursed Coists. Purifiers picked up the unit. Purifiers tipped up, did their thing, and went, cheers, easy, I'll with them. Then the unit of 10 Paladins did exactly the same thing. It was dice, unfortunately, for him. Game 4, I ran into Eldari. I made a mistake. I even talked about it with Simon and Jay the night before, and I said, I'm not going to put my librarians on the board. I'm going to deep strike them. What did I do? I deployed them. What happened? They fucking died. Like an asshole.
His
Didn't
list
even
had
take my own advice.
he had 2 Crimson Hunters. What were the planes like?
Dicks.
Really?
They literally just they got into positions, saw what they needed to, because he took assassination and what was the other one? Assassination and something else. I'm just going to say something else. But either way, he maxed out his secondaries. I only denied him on the primaries. If I'd have thought about it a little bit more, if I didn't put the librarians on the board, they would have come down and I would have just picked up a unit a turn because they were still rolling hot, but they just died too quickly. So I didn't have that more wound output.
Okay.
I haven't seen planes be utilised properly in this edition. Really, I know that Drakkari are bringing some Drakkari are bringing back their bombers and stuff. So it's interesting to see them coming in Eldar, but yeah,
it's very effective, especially against. I mean, for me, it literally is. It's picking up a paladin or a terminator return. It's really hard for me to use true silver armor when he's got multiple lanes of fire and such target choice. So it's a case of which one do I use it on. I failed about 3 major charges, which in essence cost me the game, because if I'd have got the Night Spinner on the second turn that I wanted, I would have crippled him. He would have been ruined. But he saw what I was doing and literally just advanced all of his flyers right back, so I couldn't keep up the chase. And he took out all my strike squads, which denied me them my primary, even though I was sticky. But then the warp spiders just came up, touched it, and it just took me away from primary. So it was. I knew I could have won, but after the fact, seeing how everything played out, which hindsight's a bitch, I suppose. And then my last game, I ran to Leagues of Voltan. Now I've only ever played Leagues of Voltan once. I played it at a curtain event. This was the end of 9th, and my goal was to kill the fortress, and I did. And in this one, he had 2. And I had no idea what the units did, and he brought things in from strategic reserves, and didn't even ask for loot. It was just complete utter ruination. Everything died, but I denied points, so they didn't score max. But no, it was a bloody good one. Each one of my opponents was spectacular. I come away from a tournament like that going, I had a good time because I had to deal with no assholes. I don't throw my weight around. I am a big guy. I mean, my first opponent was a kid. His name was Harvey. He was, I'll tell you what, for a young lad, clued on to hell. Our game was 81-80. And it's only because turn 1 I killed his Big Bird. Literally managed to make the charge, killed Big Bird straight away, job done.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done.
So yeah, it was a good event, really good event. Good
Kids
food
cry,
too.
yeah.
My stomach can test.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that you guys enjoyed it, and I mean, we're going to move on from the LGT talk now. We're going to get into the topic of the night, which is our Meta Monday topic. So what we're going to do, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at this at all or prepare. I did send it to you all very late, but we're going to have a look at how the meta is shaping up. Now, since the data slate is gone, we've had the LGT, we've had some major, Steve, shut up you. We've had some major changes happen in this meta. So we're going to have a look at it. We're going to kind of just talk about it and see how we all fit. So we're going to scroll down. So let's have a look. So we're going to go straight to the event. So the first event, and this is a big one, it's 125 players, 5 rounds. We've got the Michigan GT Lansing. Now, the top 3 of this one was Eldari, Sisters, Orcs, all going 5-0. That, if we looked at this scene a few months ago, would you have seen Orcs? Would you have seen certainly Sisters going 5-0 at a tournament? What do we think here, chaps? How are we feeling about that?
Orcs, definitely. Orcs have come up the rear really, really quick. we saw a couple of orc players on tables next to us, and he brought the list specifically to take on Eldari, and he went 4-1 in the end because the Eldari player he ran into, he just rolled bad dice. It's unfortunate, and I think trucks are a bastard. I mean, not just for Grey Knights, but for a lot of people, because now they're so cheap. There are so many of them, and because
they're upgraded to 10 points.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that's not enough.
No,
They've got like fire and deck ridiculous as well.
Yeah,
they're open top, so that everything inside can shoot. Fuck, it stings.
especially with flash kits and the captain.
It's mean. I think it's because we don't see it enough to know how to combat it yet. I don't think it's broken. I just think it's a case of people weren't ready for it. Yeah. So now with the new Space Marine codex coming out, there's a lot of tasty bits in there that can, go toe to toe with orcs. I can't deal with orcs because there's so many vehicles. I can kill one or possibly two vehicles a turn if my librarians decide to tip up. But if not, then it's a case of I'm going to get steamed over. But a lot of people don't seem to have much problem taking out vehicles. It's just that they have too many.
To be honest, my surprise in this run isn't the Eldari, the Sister Orcs, it's the Imperial Knights coming up fourth. I'm really kind of shocked at how well that player must have done.
Well, yeah, we'll get onto that a bit later, actually, Stephen, because we've got a big bit to talk about with the old Imperial Knights, because they've had a bit of a fall from grace. Well, let's quickly go back to, because I don't want to scout over these guys, these ladies. It's Sisters of Battle. Simon, we haven't seen these anywhere. How have they been represented at the club? What do you think about this being at the club?
I think, at our club, I think only Lee plays Sisters, actually. And I haven't seen him bring his Sisters out for a while.
He's adamant they don't work. But 5-0 says otherwise.
To be honest, I don't remember seeing. Well, I certainly don't remember seeing anyone on the table at LGT. But it doesn't mean they weren't there.
There was a slack handful. I don't know. I mean, Christ, there were 780 odd people there. I wasn't going to go through everyone's wins and losses. But there was definitely a slack handful there.
Actually, saying that, no. Oh no, he took Lees of Voltan. No. To be honest, I was just starting thinking of one player I knew that went, but no, I remember he took Lees of Voltan. I'm quite surprised with it, to be honest, but I'd like... Gareth, none of us need to see your tits.
Yeah.
I was actually it's quite surprising to see, actually, Sisters, but to be honest, I'd love to see how they've done it. But then it's the same with when I see Wolf players do really well. I'm like, well, how do they do it?
Yeah, they don't take dreadnoughts.
Well, I think they're going to do better with the new codex. I think the new codex is going to help Space Wolves massively. But we got to wait and see. That's going to be a couple of weeks. We'll start to see that tipping into the meta and seeing how Space Marines fare up. There's two in 6th and 7th place. There's Black Templars. Now, Black Templars are extremely good
strong.
Now. Yeah, and I think even with the new book coming, we've talked about the Black Tide, which has been mentioned. Which is someone recently said that they can get like 140 Templars in there, and that can all move, advance, and charge. And these guys can also re-roll their advance and re-roll their charge. Now that is oppressive. You get some characters in there. You get the right buffs going. All of a sudden, they become a bit of a brick. Now, I'm quite a fan. I've had other Templar players saying they're not that bothered. What do you guys think?
Do they still retain their 5 feeling of pain against psychic weapons in the new codex?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Because if they do, I would struggle massively because all my combat is psychic. Majority of my shooting is psychic. It's a case of they're getting double sets of saves. They're not only getting their normal save, they're getting their feeling of pain. So I need them to basically roll less than average on saves. More than average on saves for me to even do the damage that I require. because their OC is quite high as well. I believe it's all 2.
Yeah,
It's
it
all
is
2
because
OC.
they're classed as battle line. So these 20
Exactly.
round blobs with the neophytes and the marines in, you know, they've got this mixture of weapons that's quite tasty. I mean, a 20-man blob of marines, it's going to be difficult to punch through. Let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, you need easy access to anti-infantry devastating wounds. That's the only way you can get through with ease.
Other than having combats that, but then you do get in combat with an army that is built for combat.
I mean, I was trying to work this out. A Purify unit, even with their anti-infantry 2+, it's only -1 ignoring cover. They have armor contempt. It literally cancels that out. So they're still getting just basic 3-up saves. And then they're getting feeling no pain.
What do you reckon, Simon, if you came up against someone tipped up with 140 Templars on the table, plus room for tanks and so on?
Well, I did go up against a Black Templar list actually at LGT, and I lost due to a stupid mistake. He was a lovely player, but I was just an idiot. I've got to admit, they pack a punch, and it's, for me, being Dialed Wolf player, and remembering how good we were in combat, and watching an army come in and just annihilate everything I had, I was just like that. So if I saw that many, to be honest, I don't know how I'd cope with it, to be honest, especially with where my army is at the moment. The only thing I could hope for is dreadnoughts to beat them to death or shoot them to death, and like Gareth said, use devastating wounds, but then they've still got the feel no pain.
Tough, isn't it?
I can see them doing well. I can see the Templars doing
Well,
a lot better than they are going forward.
Funny you should say that. So when we get to the bottom of this, we're going to look at the percentages of what the win percentages are at the minute, and there's some armies that have had some mega force and grace who have dropped even further, and there's some armies that have like really been boosted really well. So we'll move on to the next tournament. We're going to look at the Battle for Salvation in West Nyack, New York. That's 94 players, and this was a 6-round tournament. Now, number 1 spot, and we've talked about it all, Orcs. Number 2, Space Marines, also went 6-0. Number 3, we've got the Chaos Space Marines, which we know are strong. Number 4 was Votan, and number 5 was Eldari. And then number 6, we've got Death Guard, and then it's Votan. Votan? Like, what?
Like I said earlier on, I got steamrolled. Well, it felt like a steamroll because everything just kept on dying. Their innate ability to give judgment tokens to units that aren't even on the board, can't even tell you how much that boiled my piss. It really did. I think you should only be able to do it on things that deploy, in all my opinion, because, all right, pretty sure, yes, it's a grind for me because it's a great night player. Paladins, their innate ability is -1 to wound. If you hit them with something high strength in their toughness. Voltan, just ignore it. Because they put a judgment token on you, they're getting +1 to hit, +1 to wound. And it's not feel bad, it's bloody 40k for Christ's sake, you know, but it's a case of that innate thing to do it on something that's not on the board. It's going to suck the moment you bring your unit in. It really is. Especially when they can overwatch really well because they're hitting on 5s. There's a unit, I don't know what it's called, but there's a unit that has sustained hits 5 and it's double sustained hits, so sustained hits 2 on 5s. It just ruined me. Literally just blitzed through my bloody army. There's nothing I could do about it. Especially when the land fortresses ignore cover. So you can't even do true silver armor cover because it just cancels each other out. They're high AP, ignoring cover, and it puts me straight on the invul. So there's not even point in spending the CP. Yeah, it's strong, and I don't think people are going to expect it, especially when it's only been out a couple of weeks. I mean, Christ, we were theory crafting. We had 3 weeks to prepare a list for the LGT. Going, well, what do we do? Well, where do we go from here? What do we think the meta is going to be? You know, you pluck ideas out of the sky, and at no point did we go, Orcs, Voltan. Yeah, we're definitely going to watch out for those guys. We didn't. We literally went Chaos, Eldari, and Gene Stealer Cult. That's literally what we went. That's all we were thinking about. We weren't thinking about anything else. And then Tau slid in right at the end there, and just with all their battle suits.
So what was your biggest surprise then? Out of this data slate change, what has been the thing that's taken you guys by surprise? Like for me, as a player, like I always, like when I looked at Votan, I was like, if you make them too cheap, they're already a horde army. You're going to make them even more of a horde army. And then all of a sudden you're like, it doesn't matter because it becomes they're rolling like 600 dice. So who cares if they're bad at it? Because you roll shed loads of dice. Law of averages, right? The more dice you put into it, the more
Absolutely. I think because they're dedicated transport, is it the
Sagittar?
Thank you. I thought I was going to say that and get it wrong. Look like a twat. It has so many shooting weapons for 100 points. Is it 105 points, something like that? It has so much high strength AP weapons.
It's very good, and it can scout move, and you can put a unit of berserks in there, which they are a glass hammer, but they still
that's practically the only thing that I did bitch when they got out, because they bounced, because that's what I'm built for. I'm built for trying to survive in combat. I'm just not built to take a lot of shots.
I think that's where the meta is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's my one gripe with the Grey Knights. I loved being a Psyker army. I really did. And now I'm a run, hide, and score points army. It's a bittersweet. Because I played like an idiot. I played the RTT on the Friday night before the main event. Mainly to play armies that I hadn't played before. So I ran into Thousand Suns, first time playing him. Ouch. Then I played World Eaters. Didn't get to play someone that was competitive in World Eaters. And learned a lot. I learned that I can stand there and take it. I mean, I had to make 5 saves against Angron's invols, and I made all 5, much to my opponent's disgust. And then killed a whole unit of Berserkers and Angron in one round of combat. It was, I won't lie. Because I did my free strat for Radiant Strike and everything just took devastating wings. Just like, pick your shit off the board. No. And then in my final game, I ran into. No, forgot my last game. But either way, 3 armies that I hadn't played before, so it was a lot. I learned a lot. I only won 1 out of the 3, but it was an eye. Oh no, I ran into Grey Knights. I ran into
you had a mirror.
And gotta say, playing a mirror match in the Grey Knights sucks because we know each other's rules, and we're literally dancing around the board, scoring behind enemy lines, teleport homers. We picked exactly the same. And
did you go fixed?
Yeah, Grey Knights, teleport homers and behind enemy lines, surprisingly very, very powerful. I've changed my list now to go a little bit more MSU than having a big blob of 10 paladins. But just every turn, picking a unit up, shoving it in his back line. If you can get the 2 units in their deployment zone, great. But if you can only have 1, you're scoring 7 out of your 8 points each battle round.
Right.
And if you go fixed, you always want to go second. Because at the end of his turn, you pick up 3 units, you're going to score at turn 1. And that's the way you build into it. You can do first of the fray, but I find that a bit swingy because the tournaments now have said first of the fray, which is deep strike turn 1, you can't rapid ingress them because it's an out of turn rule.
Right, okay.
So it's a case of that's been now taken away from us, which is fair. I don't disagree with it. Everybody else has something that can be done out of turn sequence. So everybody else should be done. So yeah, it's Voltan and the Orcs are screaming up the rear. I mean, Tau are there, but I reckon that's down to generalship. Our friend James, he's a very, very good methodical player. and even he spoke to the best last year's number one Tau player, and even he said it's all about generalship. Tau can do very, very well as long as you know the ins and outs of your movement phase. Because if you don't know your movement down for Tau, you ain't gonna win.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as we're going to go on, I want to get Stephen. Stephen will love this. His favourite army. I've seen him in the chats recently. He's been trying to do.
I turned my mic off for a minute then because I heard I was crackly.
Oh no, you're fine now. You're much better.
Okay.
So we're going to go to the Belgium GT 40k. This is a 74 player 5 rounds. Now, what's pretty cool is the WTC scoring, and right at the top, Stephen's new love affair, Eldari. Stephen, what the fuck? What is going on? What are you doing? Yeah. 1 minute you're like, oh no, I'm going with my Chaos Knights, you know, all this jazz. Next thing I see, you're in chat speak. Has anyone got any warp spiders? I'll even take the Chinese recast. What's that about?
I'm just looking around to see what's it about.
Like a crackhead in a street corner. Has anyone got any of them warp spiders, man?
Give me the warp spiders now.
I'm going to come back and we're going to see, next time I see you, Steve, you're going to be missing your 2 front teeth and I'm going to be calling you Crackhead Steve.
I don't have an excuse.
I can't justify it. Just kidding.
I think what it is, every now and again when I'm playing, even when I'm just practicing home and I'm finding the movement on my knights, I enjoy it, and I'm really loving the carnival and the fact they can just run through buildings. I do enjoy it, and I think Fly has been ruined, that I was using with Harlequins at the time. And before, I'd heard a rumor that the Harlequin hit was coming with the 5+ invulnerable save, and someone at the time offered me basically what I paid for my Harlequins, so I was like, jump on that. And I kind of missed them. And I know it's silly, but I was like, it's too good a chance to not do that, and now I'm like, I kind of want to play something silly. so
in other words,
yeah.
Look, guys, I've been saying this right from the
never sell your armies.
So me and Corda, we're purists. I only collect custodies. He only collects the wolves, and then you've got you, Stephen, who looks at the meta and goes, I'm not going to be a meta chaser. I'm not going to do it. And then you know what? Once you get the tip plate, you just can't stop.
I don't think I'd be able to get them in time and painted up by the time I'm actually able to play any tournaments before a nerf comes in.
What is this?
Anyway,
Is this for Peterborough Slam you're talking about, or when we go to Leicester?
Yeah, no, I'll be bringing my Chaos Knights for Peterborough. Because there's no way I'll have anything ready in time. And that'll be 12 dogs and a changeling, and just to be. It's the thing with that army. It's always the coin flip. Is if you've brought enough to take out a knight, you're fine, and then there's no worries. Like even when I played Athena, and the guy brought Shalaxi and Lord of Change, like 2 Lords of Change stuff that just wiped them out in one move. It was awful. But yeah, I think it's just another silly project. You know, I'm terrible. I shouldn't do it. I know I shouldn't.
Yeah, they said that on Breaking Bad, mate, when they were starting to make meth, and then look what happened.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to like.
That's his idea.
I'm not going to be associated with that.
Sorry, YouTube. We're not promoting that at all. We are.
No, this is like.
We are clean.
I am frustrated though that none of the quality, like. I don't know how to describe it. Like, the Banshees are the only ones that are plastic currently, and that's annoying. There should be more. And I know the rumour is that the Scouts are going to be coming out with the Striking Scorpions as a kill team soon, which would be cool. But there's so many other things in the Eldar range that are really old. I mean, they're doing the celebrating 40 years of... Is it 40 years of 40k now? Mm-hmm. Or is it 30? Whichever one it is.
40 years.
Yeah, and you think some of the Eldar range came out of that beginning. Like, they haven't been changed.
So,
So-
there's going to be some big changes, and I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll
In a year.
we'll do so when the 40k day comes. We'll no doubt do a reaction video on the Black Crow YouTube. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through a bit more. So we talked about Eldari won this one, 74 players, 5 rounds, big tournament. Sisters up there again with a 4-1. We've got Necrons with a 4-1. Eldari, and Fountain. So I feel like this tournament is kind of more like your generic scene of what we were seeing pre-Data Slate. Bar the Sisters and the Necrons. Bear in mind this is 74 players as well, so it's quite a big one. So we're going to go on to the next one, 61 players. This is Padstow, Australia. This is the Pantheon GT. And then right at the very top, is Tyranids and Ended Swarm. We haven't seen Tyranids in the top 3 so far. So, Simon, have you had a chance to play Tyranids yet? Have you done much with them?
I haven't actually. No, I haven't actually played Nids. Obviously, James, one of the guys we went up to LGT with, he took his Tau in the end, but he was considering taking his Nids.
He didn't have time to play it all.
Yeah, he should do what I do and just pay someone to do it for me.
So we're going to go to a quick ad break. So Vision Gaming is from Black Crow.
Actually, Vision
Gaming.
has done a couple of my models.
I'll tell you what, maybe towards the end of the stream, Simon, if you can get them out and you can show us. We're not asking to see anything too personal, but we'll have a look at your models.
That's right. He got my Lehman Russ he did was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he did he did Angron that's been featured on the channel.
Yeah.
Vision Gaming did that, and that is an absolutely stunning model. And you know, you can find Vision Gaming or War Gaming, I think he likes to go by. You can find him on Instagram. Have a look at some of the stuff that he's done on there. Obviously, we've used him, or we're looking at using him in some capacity for those that don't paint. But if you just want to have like a really nice centerpiece model, I definitely suggest going there. Anyway, back to the Pantheon, which is a cool name. Tyranids Unended Swarm went 5-0. Guard went 5-0. Now we spoke about Guard last week because again, weren't really seeing it, but there seems to be some form of Guard list out there that's doing well. I haven't seen it because it's still not in the UK scene, so we're not being able to get a list. Stephen, you tend to be quite good at getting these lists up. Have you seen anything about this Guard list?
Well, this particular one, the only guard list I'm aware of that's been doing it rather well was David Gaillard's from he went 4-1 at LGT, I think.
Is that is it Baneblade he took, or is it
Lehman Russ, I think, was in there. What's the new? Is that the new tank? I need to bring up his podcast and check it out.
New one's the Rogue Dawn, isn't it?
He talks about it on the Fireside podcast, and it's Rogue Dawn because he had a new Rogue Dawn. But then they just released another one yesterday, today, I think, where he said he would take it out straight away. So I think it's kind of interesting. If you're really into Guard, he's got some good viewpoints on that, so it's worth checking out.
David Gaillard, am I right to say, he's quite a well-known player. He's been in the UK TC scene for quite a while, and he's done quite well. There's something I want to bring up here. So, a note on Pantheon. Now, it says here, Tyranids Index 4-1, Tyranids Index 4-1. Are they still able to use the Index rules, even though the Codex has come out?
The Codex points are null and void, though, aren't they, because of the data slate?
Yeah. So does that mean that people are able to run the Tyranids Index tactics?
one that also?
That's
Yeah,
an
I
interesting-
wouldn't have thought so.
That's an
Index
interesting one.
one.
We might have to investigate that because it's. I'm intrigued to think.
The tournament may just allow it.
Yeah, this is true. Like someone might have written in and been like, "Oh, can we do this?"
Yeah, they may have just let it through and gone, yeah, why not? You know, it's not easy. It's not like there's a specific list from the index that is groundbreaking.
Strange.
I suppose we've got to look at different regions around the world have different metas. You know, Australia is completely different to everybody else. So it could be.
So I think the Australian meta is so different simply because it is so expensive to ship miniatures out there.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, yeah. I remember when I was out there I was on holiday, and I looked at picking up a couple of books out there, and the rule book was $90. I'm like that.
Wow.
No.
Now, what does that? So for the uneducated ones here, $90 Australian dollars. What does that work out in?
Gosh. Well, it's 2017 back then. So god. Anyone got a converter on them? I don't know, but it's just...
I do actually. 90 Australian dollars today is £45.
And we pay what, 30, 35 for a rulebook?
Yeah. Well, depending on what your source is from, but yes, if you're buying it off, if you're buying it off the shelf, which I suggest you do, support Games Workshop, is 35 pounds. And so we're gonna kind of move on, and we're gonna go down. And I want to look at the Broadsword Wargame in ITC, and that is in Ireland. Now, also before we go into this, I want to just bring up. I don't know if you guys have noticed. These are all big GTs. These are all big tournaments. Like we're only now just getting into 56 players, and we've had several big ones. So I think this meta is actually really impactful because a lot of games have been played over a lot of different regions with a lot of players. So I think this is really going to give us a true idea of what's going on. With the broadsword, in number 1 spot is Eldari. Eldari are just strong still, aren't they? Like they got nerfed and they're just still good.
They get nerfed. They got tickled.
Although, not to sound like a defender.
Here we go. He sniffed at them. He's given
I
them.
won't lie. I was going to be on the side of defending as well.
I was just going to say,
Oh, you can.
Eldari are picked so much. Like we see later down this list, so many people picking them, and actually they're still not owning the complete podium, which I find quite interesting. So it does show that you need to be also a very good player. Hence why if I ever played them, you would not see me atop the podium. But
It's not your job to put yourself down. It's ours.
yeah, so it's just I do find it interesting. They're still, even though I think it says like they're the highest picked army in all these tournaments, and even in this one you're getting 1st and 4th, and then just non-existent. So either it's people feeling bad about playing them, which you shouldn't, or
They've got shenanigans
bad
that
players.
They've got shenanigans that people don't really keep an eye on. Like, what's it called? Where you bitch with an ugly face? What's it called?
The Incon.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Can I just go back on that? What did you just describe her as?
Whirly bitch with an ugly face.
So right, it's what we called her all weekend at the LGT. We kept
That's
going.
it,
The Incon.
yeah,
Yes,
fucking
that's the bitch.
When people pick off smaller units because they think, oh, I'm going to get that bastard that's on an objective, they don't think, oh, this bitch can fucking go over there. They don't think it's, they think, I'm going to get rid of that objective. They don't think, and she can teleport out of combat.
Yeah.
It's an absolute, if you think that you're going to pick her up in combat in your turn, the moment you shoot someone off an objective, she disappears. A lot of people don't see that. They don't have that forethought. So they do it. They roll the dice. It's not something you can take back. This is a tournament. I know everything's a gentleman's agreement, but you've got to have that forethought yourself. You can't do the rolling and then go, shit, didn't really want to do that. Do you mind if I take it back? I hate that play. I really do. It's your onus to control that. And that's what a lot of people get caught out with. They get caught out with warp spiders. They get caught out with phantasm. They don't have that forethought sometimes, and it is down to Eldari generalship to do well. And if you've got a good person at the helm running that army, they're gonna do well. All right. This tournament, the top 10 for this tournament shows only 2 Eldari. It may be that they've only got 2 decent generals. We don't know what's at 11 and down. It could be the next 4. It could be Eldari themselves. So anybody that can have that forethought to see through their shenanigans, you can combat it quite well. I didn't. I brought down a unit of 2 strikes on my back objective, thinking, they'll be safe. Then those what's it called? The indirect spinners.
Yeah.
Is it the spinners? Literally, he went, I'll target that unit there, killed them both, picked up the bitch, put her down. I went, fuck. As soon as I said it, he went, yeah, sorry, mate. He said, I did want to tell you, but I was like,
Yeah.
can't.
The other one as well, if you twin it with the solitaire, that's just mean. The solitaire's movement is awful. It's
24
disgusting.
inches.
It's horrible, and then it's a character killer. It takes out any unit if it, and if it doesn't, if it dies itself, that gives the Incarn opportunity to jump in again.
Yeah, no, that's what Matt Jarvis is doing.
Yeah, he tried baiting me for the one thing that I did see. He threw a unit of what they called specters. He threw a unit of specters at me. I stayed right back, shut the shit off the board, and I went, "Now move the bitch. Now move her." Didn't see it the next turn, but I saw it turn one.
You won the moral victory.
Yeah, I
That's
did.
all.
Yeah, fucking ugly bitch.
That's the only thing I did well against my Eldar matchup is I actually killed the Incarn.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Take the small victory, mate. That's what we've got to do. I'd do it.
Hey, it took 5 dreadnoughts to do it, but I did it.
Oh, dear. So shall we
Well,
move on?
I mean, the Liam. I don't know if you guys watched the final, but well, not even the final. The game against, I think, was it? No, it was the final. Where he had to like tank shock with a rhino to try and take the Yukon down. It was just any opportunity to get rid of that thing.
If
Those
we
guys.
got rid of the rhino, that rhino would live in infamy. I'm telling you now. Oh, now, I remember the days I chased it in the earlier editions, right? I had a unit of fire warriors that chased down a unit of shuriken scorpions. To this day, I've never let that fucker forget it.
So I think that's like you've really touched on a good point there, Gareth. Like one of the best things about Warhammer 40k, every single one of us here has a moment where the dice dictated what was going to happen, and when the dice do that, and it creates these amazing moments. That this is probably one of some of the reasons why we love Warhammer. You know, when you're like, oh, I need to roll like 4 6s here, and then you roll 4 6s, and your opponent's just like, what the hell? They're not even angry. They're just like,
impressed. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, I can quite happily say I took a shaft in from ridiculous dice.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're not getting into the toilet dice scenario, but when it genuinely, when it genuinely happens, and it does happen, like you'll come in and like you'll hear guys being like, I just made 6 10-inch plus charges. Things like that happen, and then those moments win those games for people. Where arguably, if people were like, averages, which does rage some of our fellow nerds out there, they're like, the averages, math hammer. But you look like some poor twat in the corner looks like he's about to have an aneurysm because he didn't roll averages.
Yeah, I've got to admit, Jason Ashton, one of the guys we went to OGT with, he's got nightmares of my dice, especially when wolves had double exploding 6s in combat. I literally 7 attacks, 7 6s, 21 hits, and took a night down from 7 attacks.
It was gross. I've never seen someone's soul leave their body.
Anyone watching this stream tonight or going to watch it as later, which is what most people do, if you can leave in the comments just about like moments that you've had or where the dice have been great, I think all of us would really like to give those a read, because they are what part of what makes this hobby special. So we're gonna
if you're at the LGT and got hit by Gareth's dice that went everywhere.
Yeah, sorry. I am renowned for leaving dice everywhere.
We walked up an aisle two tables away from him and found 3 of his dice.
Really?
No joke.
Oh god. So we're gonna go on to the La Laguna, to Edicon or Edicion. I don't know, Spanish players out there are all gonna hate me for saying that. Anyway, it was a GT. It was 46 players. It was 5 rounds, and coming at the top of theirs was the Thousand Suns with a 5-0. Eldaria in there again with a 4-1. They're always going to be up there. They're a good army. Tyranids with the Vanguard, 4-1. Necrons Ildari, and then in 6th place, finally, we see a Custodes army.
Custodes actually do something, yeah.
We actually get into the top 10, and Custodes haven't been seeing that for a while. How do you guys what do you think about the whole Custodes side of things? Because obviously that's a big topic. They were a 56% army, and now they're low.
I went up against. Oh,
Yeah.
you go first,
Sorry,
Gareth.
yeah, go on. I'm fine. I'm cool.
No, you go. No, you go on.
There you go.
Yeah,
I
you go.
think I got the flip round from what Custodes were. So I seem to have taken your spot as to where it came from the wins to loss ratio. So you are where I was 6 weeks ago before the day stay update. So I feel your pain. I really do. But you can stay there because you got to feel a pain against my bullshit and fuck you, Gareth.
All right, obviously there's a little bit of bias there, Gareth. Let's see if we can get into a little bit of a less bias.
I mean, obviously, we got a couple of friends. We got a couple of guys that play Custodes. I went up against a Custodes player at the LGT, and I fell for him because
I
by turn 3 it was over.
It's not pretty for us at the minute. I think we've got a few plays, and it involves keeping most of our models off the board to turn game. It's rough, and we're gonna have a look through, and as we go through,
you got a harsh slap on the wrist. The unit size is coming down from 10 is a bit tad unnecessary.
So I was okay with that because I thought 10 Guardians, you just couldn't shift them. What wasn't necessary was the fact that we've got four playing against mortals. But actually, when you break it down, how much in the game gives out mortals?
True.
Not much. There's certain abilities that simply declare mortals. There are certain like exploding from vehicles, they give out mortals. But we're now at this point where actually our rule, which was really powerful, pointless. You're paying 55 points for a model, and you don't even get to use one of the core rules now.
Yeah, I think they're going to come back into the throne. Is it January when the Codex is meant to come out?
No, they said next year, but they haven't given
Okay.
anything.
I think my assumption is that one is just going to fall to the wayside, and we'll see many more taking potential something like these to have advance and charge and things like that, and then bikes can come back into their own because the bikes have just gone at the moment. I know they have UC and scoring points, but they're not what they were. So if they come back with some ability, that would be great. You know, so the max you can have now is 10. Is it 3, 3, 3, and the shield captain?
Yeah, we even got noted on the old sizes a little bit, but then that was kind of like
when it used to be you could have 18 bikes before, I think, or something silly.
Yeah, 3 units of 6, and then plus the shield cap, so 19.
Yeah,
They lose a wound as well from the
Sorry,
previous.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they stayed at tougher 6. They lost a wound. Their guns got worse. They went up in points. Their rules are really bizarre actually, because to use their rule it involves dishing out mortals, but it means you just can't interact with. So you have to advance, and if you advance over something, you cause the mortals. But then you're better off moving and charging and actually doing what Custodes do in combat. So it was a weird rule. I'm not entirely sure it is very well thought out, but hey ho.
It's the land speeder rule.
Not being able.
It's
Sorry.
No, I was going to say the jumping over mortals was originally the Screamer's ability in 9th, then they gave it to the land speeder in 10th, and now they've chucked the land speeder as a model. So yeah, it's an odd one.
Yeah, not being able to stack your stratagems now. Well, them taking that away from you, that was a massive hit to your resilience.
Oh my god, losing fight first. Don't be wrong, that was, you couldn't play against us with fights first, but I think they just kind of they have over nerfed Custodes, and then they've dropped them a bit too far. I think they will obviously come back. They're Custodes, they're a popular army, they'll come back. So we'll move on from them, but I think it's as we get down to the percentages side of things, we're going to see how it's really played out. So the next one, we've got a cool tournament name. This is called the Dragonfall 2023 Lake Geneva. 40 players, 5 rounds, and top of the tier of this one, and then Chaos Demons. It's very nice to see. Big fan of that. How do you guys feel about Demons right now?
I reckon that's purely down to generalship because their rules aren't that great.
No.
In hindsight, they're not. If you played against demons, I mean, I've only had a select handful of games against demons, and they have similar rules to what I have: the deep strike within 3 and everything else like that. The changeling, which is an irritating bastard to get rid of. But if you've got something that can target out specifically, it's easy to deal with. All you have to do is get it in combat, and you can do that if you move correctly.
Right.
And Bellicor himself, if you have the shooting, he's hard to hide. Same as Big Bird. All the greater demons are hard to hide, and with enough firepower, they're easy to kill. All it takes. I know you're going to hate me for saying it. The law of averages. Unfortunately, it's a case of enough shots will kill anything.
Oh, get out.
Get out, right. How do I mute him? No.
Steve Connell's one to talk to. He always does well with his demons, doesn't he?
Does. He's
but then he wants to get his generalship.
He's a very clever player. He knows how to utilize his units quite well. But the matter that you see most demons, it's pink horrors, because if you can't wipe them in one, guess what? They're fucking splitting. It's an undying unit almost, especially if they get to regen their models using the what's called the dark, their whole shtick. If they control that objective, their deployment. Yeah, it's gnarly. You've got to outplay them in movement, unfortunately, to prevent them from getting in their army rules. And if you can't do that, I mean, when I played the demons, I struggled because they can do behind enemy lines better than what I can.
Well, they've got that. They're able to jump in and end up quite close, aren't they? They're 6 inches away.
Yes.
And that's with the big models as well. That's with Shalaxi, because I've unfortunately had that rear end me, and it's my own fault. not screaming. That's all right. I ended up walking grey and saggy. It's fine. It's one of those things. But they've got some tricks. I say you're thinking generalship is what led these guys to come in number 1.
Yeah.
In number 2.
The thing is with everything, it's generalship more than anything.
Yeah. You can have matchups. Yeah. You can have the dream set of matchups going into each game. It takes nothing away from the person that played it, because obviously he's gone through each matchup and gone, I'm going to smash this. I mean, Chaos don't really do well against bigger ball controls, so they don't do that well into NIDs, because NIDs have more units, and more units, they can withstand a lot of impact. They're monsters. It's not easy to get rid of them sometimes, and it's a case of you can get rid of key units like the Lord of Change. Get rid of the Lord of Change. That is a massive impact to his army. It's a hammer that he no longer has. And then you can just NIDs can out OC demons on objectives better than they can.
So when this game first dropped, 10th dropped, I think there was a big emphasis by Games Workshop on OC and on Battleshock. Now, it's not really a thing now, is it? Let's be honest. Like, you failing your Battleshock test, do you think that really hinders your army?
Did in my matchup with Josh on the channel.
I mean, by the way, please go and watch that if you want to see Simon being gently caressed by Josh in that moment. But
I won't lie, I only won my game against Jay Medicott because he failed a Battleshock test on all of his knights in one round.
So I guess in this certain circumstance, then it matters.
It's very situational.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it doesn't matter because the unit either dies. I suppose it matters when you've got less than half strength and you really need to hold that objective. If you don't have sticky, I suppose that's the only instance where I've seen people go, "Ah, bugger, I really should have used the auto pass there." That's a great change, by the way.
Changing the auto pass.
Yeah, changing the auto pass to having to pull the fucking CP before you roll and not after the fact, so you don't get a free roll to see whether you passed or not. I reckon that was a great change to the game. I saw a lot of players go, shit, I've already, already rolled, bugger. There's a lot of people that I saw on either side of my table have that issue and have that dilemma of choice. So
it definitely. So so here's me sitting there thinking, it's not really had that much of an impact. And you guys are actually saying, well, now it is having a bit of an impact. That slight change in the data slate has had some ripples across the way the game plays, and now it's making some difference.
Yeah, nothing game changing, as in on the grander scale, but definitely something else that you've got to think about in this game. And obviously, the more things they put into the game that you have to think about, the harder your generalship becomes.
As long as they don't bring back 50 stratagems and we only use 4.
Please don't do that.
Games Workshop gods, if you're listening to me, hear my prayer. For the love of God, please, I will sacrifice Stephen. I'll do it right now.
Oh, come on.
I will sacrifice him. Look, his voice is pretty. Please do not do this to us.
I will lose weight. I swear to God, I'll lose weight if you don't do that. Anyone that knows me, that's a hard thing to do. I'm a big man. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, viewers. You can be who you want to be. And moving on, we're gonna kind of jump through some of these because there's quite a lot of tournaments happening this weekend. So we've got the
small ones as well.
Yeah, we've got the 38 player one. That was won by Necrons. We've got another 36 player one. That was.
Sorry, just want to point out on that 38 player one, by the way. Did you see what was in third place?
Admech. So Admech did appear earlier up as well. But Admech are a sleeper. They're not in a bad spot, and we're going to look at that when we get to the percentages because that's an interesting point. I think that Admech's still a play. Then we get to the call to arms, Williamsburg. We've got Orcs, Thousand Sons, Templars, the usual ones we're expecting. Quebec, you got a Votan win there. I'd like to note that nobody went 5-0. That was 4-1, 4-1. Then we get to Poland. Bloody hell. First, second, and third was all Eldari.
And fifth.
And fifth.
Jesus.
That's the one. That's what I almost expecting in the smaller tournaments.
Yeah, Eldari Eldari dominate. And then here's a GT in Finland. Again, a small tournament. Custodies were able to get a podium. I think that is because it is a small tournament. Small tournament, you tend the skill set of players probably isn't going to be as high as when you get to like the 50 to 60 to 100 level players. Let's be honest. So we're gonna get into the takeaway side of things, and we're gonna start looking at percentages. And this is the bit that I quite enjoy doing, because I think it's interesting to look at these percentages and be like, oh my god, they got a 59% win rate or 60% win rate. But what we got to look at is how many players actually played them, and that makes a big difference. Because if they're played by a lot of players and they've still got a 54% win rate, for example, or 55, that means more people are able to take them and do well.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to take anything away from that, but I think it adds a little bit more ease to it. So we're going to go to some of the shocks. So Eldari were represented 61 times. They've got a 54% win rate. Are you guys surprised by that?
No.
No. Me neither. No. I think the one that's most surprising, Orcs were represented 35 times, which is quite a lot, actually, and they got a 57% win rate.
I played Orcs recently, And to be honest, I literally won just mainly because we ran out of time, and 2 just because I bring it down at the right point and managed to kill all his trucks. But I can see them getting a lot more wins coming up.
Yeah,
There's just a lot to shift.
I mean, we've got a couple big major tournaments in the UK coming up. We've got Coventry. Coventry is our next big one. That's 8 games or something crazy like that over the weekend. And I think that's going to be another big show for the UK meta. What's coming up at the top. So it's worth.
We're not expecting another data slate change until January. Is that right?
Yeah, ages away.
Yeah.
So we're still Coventry and Leicester. If you're just doing just UKTCs.
I'm taking my custodies to Leicester, and I know it's going to be rough. I know it's going to be a tough one, but I'm going to try and take as different as a list as I can to try and throw people off and hope that I can do something. But I think it's very much going to be I've got to play my heart out. I'm probably a 3 and 2 player. That's what I get. I might get the odd. I could probably do a bit better than that, but I'd say I get. Like this season, I've gone mostly 3 and 2.
I'm going to see how many warp spiders I can put on the table.
Yeah, am I going to go 3? Do I think I'll go 3 at 2 at these events? Probably not. I think it's going to be very tough.
The problem is that's the downside with the bigger events is that you end up with such a variety of opponents. You can't necessarily plan for what you're going to face. No. So if you're going to some of the smaller ones, you can kind of expect you're going to come across, a block of 20 Necrons, Eldar, and equivalent. But as soon as you get to these bigger events, you get people who just bring the armies they adore, like the orcs often, or something like that. There's just like I adore this army. I've got to spend forever converting them and making them my own. But because that's the army they also adore, they're also extremely good with them.
Yeah.
And so they really take them to a level that you weren't necessarily expecting they were able to do. I mean, Drakari have proven that in past tournaments where they're not doing very well. In the percentage run, they're really not scoring high at all, but people have won tournaments with them. And because if you know what you're doing and you bring enough dark lances, if that's the only thing that's going to do it, then they're really good. Yeah.
We have a Drakari player down in the southwest who literally is exactly what you just described. He knows his army inside out. Good old George. He
like how he doesn't mention Laxton there.
He knows Sai as well. Sai is exactly the same. They know their armies inside and out, and they can ruin nearly any opponent that they come up against. I know Drakari is no longer the combat army that they wish it to be, like I wish Grey Knights would be a psychic army. It's a case of you have to adapt, and they've adapted quite well. Scourges are a bastard. Absolutely bastard.
I was talking to Simon about them, and he said you fit them with 4 Dark Lances and Scourges, and that's what their job is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally pop out, go, hey, and then just hit you. And then go, bye, and then just disappear behind that fucking wall again.
So let's have a look towards the bottom, because let's be honest, we're probably more interested in what's at the bottom than towards what's at the top, because we all kind of know what's going to be towards the top. We know we're seeing Templars, we know we're seeing Photon, we know we're seeing Eldari and Thousand Sons, but what about the bottom? That's the interesting bit. Now we've all talked about some of these armies, but at the minute, currently sitting at the bottom of the pack is Blood Angels and Drakari. Blood Angels got 34% win rate. They're represented 22 times. So
I mean, in that one, most Space Marines are quite low on this, but I wonder whether, as soon as the Codex is legitimate,
that's going to change. So I think we can just discard Space Marines for now, because let's look at the ones that are actually going to be around for a while. So Drakari, 36%. They've got some problems, haven't they?
I think it's also the amount of players. I mean, it's not many players for Drakari. It's only 11.
It's only 11.
It's hard. It's hard to take a major stat on
11 people.
11 people.
But then we go to Grey Knights, mate. Your army, the one you love, 24 players. So that's it's a reasonable amount. You're getting a couple at just about every tournament we talked about. 38%.
This generalship. I mean, Siegler from Art of War, he says it has now become you need to be an S tier general to run this army. I'm sure as hell not. You know, I mean, every year I try to go for best Grey Knights. Last year I came seventh, and the change in going from a damage dealing army to a mission and movement army, it's difficult. It really is difficult. And it's a whole new game to learn for them, unfortunately. Which it is for a lot of armies, like Custodes. Custodes rely on doing damage as well as movement, and they don't have the unit size to do it.
No, we're sitting at a 40% at the minute. So
Yeah.
my view on that is now Custodes need to be a bit more tricksy. We need to go more MSU, so utilize that two-man squad Terminator blobs, get our tanks in there, and then we need to be bringing stuff in from reserve via rapid ingress. So so this is why I think Venatari are going to be popular, because obviously you can bring in. There's nothing stopping you having 3 units of 3 Venatari or 3 units of 6 Venatari if you want to be that guy, and you could bring in a unit of Wardens from rapid ingress, and then you could do for free 3 more. So you could rapid ingress 4 units in that one turn. Nothing stopping you doing that. There's nothing in the rules saying that you can't. So you can't use the free strat ability, but there's nothing saying you can't use their ability to do it.
Doesn't the unit have to be on the board to use a free strat?
No, not with the rapid ingress. So the rapid ingress, it specifically says they can use rapid ingress for free, even if it's been used before. So you could literally bring 3 units Vanatari down, which move 10.
Board control.
Which move 10 inches, so it doesn't matter if you're 12 inches away, because in your turn you're going to move for 10 inches. You're going to be 2-inch charge. You're then getting hit by 15 attacks with sustained, hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s if it's a tough army, against infantry, 3s and 2s, because they're +1 because of Lance.
Oh yeah.
And they are 200 points a unit for free. 2 units of unit of free, 200 points.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but you've got to be able. They've literally got to come down and they have to do their job. They have to kill whatever they are there to do. And this is.
I suppose with your ability to pick what stance you're in, would help a lot at the sustained.
Yeah, it can do, but it just means that all sustain tends to do is secure that we're going to have 15 hits.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And then we're going in for the wound. But anyway, we're going to move on from Custodes, because everyone knows I love Custodes. It's not a shock. The big one.
I mean, to be honest, a big one for me in this was actually the fact that Gene Stealer Cult was so low.
This is what I was literally about to say. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm shocked by 39% down. It's
39% is wild. They went from being almost 60%.
They were like the option to take. It was them or Eldari.
The massive change to their ability to come back is, I reckon.
Well, now they just die, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking. What is it? They get plus 2 to the roll for turns 1 and 2, so they come back on 3s, which is reason enough for a battle line unit. Everything else is now 5. So you don't want to run those odds, unfortunately. It's a 1 in 3 chance, and do you really want to play that in a tournament where it's like sitting down to play poker? You know, if you've got the nuts in your hand, you're going to want to play it. You know, and unfortunately, they got some bitty nuts now. So I can see why people have gone to other things. I reckon in the next 4 weeks, the percentage of Space Marine players is going to shoot through the roof.
Of course, it's the most popular army out there. Everyone's got a Space Marine army, or have had a Space Marine army. I mean, Corda could pretty much supply half the country with the amount of Space Marines he's got. Yeah. So, you know.
No comment.
Yeah, no comment. So I think, look, major takeaways from this, guys. Let's wrap this up. So we've seen some falls from grace. We've seen some armies go from being at the top of the table, and we talked about this last week, and they've gone to the bottom. Simon, I'm going to start with you. Next bunch of tournaments are going to be coming. What do you think when the Space Marine Codex drops? who do you think they're going to be? Do you think they're going to go top dog, or do you think they're going to be middle of the pack?
To be honest, I think a lot of people are going to run. I think they're going to run the White Scar list because it gives everything Space Wolves what they used to have. Advance in charge. I can see. I mean, whether you'll see them winning tournaments again. They'll probably win a few. I don't think Space Wolves will be the top tier. I still think Templars will probably take that one.
Okay.
I mean, White Scars themselves. I know we say it's the White Scars list. It's not actually called that, is it? The White Scars detachment, but
we know what you mean. So,
yeah. But it's. I still think. I mean, the reason I've loved Wolves is they've always kind of been the underdog army. Yes, they can hit like a truck, or they used to be able to hit like a truck. Now they kind of hit like you're being slapped with a wet flannel.
I just want to point out that joke you said underdog, and not one of you's laughed. Nor did I.
Someone in the stream will laugh. Someone will watch it later and be like, underdogs, nice.
Well, you know. But no, I can't see Wolves. I mean, they may do. It depends how many people do it. It was the same as like when the Wolfen first came big in that in 9th edition when it was 145 points for a squad that could double explode in sixes. It just everybody started taking them.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be the same thing again. And then it's a constant battle, and it'll get nerfed because it'll become too strong. I mean, the main thing is the Wolves never really got nerfed because we never really had anything that was, as much as a lot of the guys at the club will sit there and say Wolfen were broken. I still don't. What was that?
I said, you beat me to it. I was about to go, bullshit. Never mind.
But I mean, I love my Wolfen, and I think in this edition, what they've done to the Wolfen is just heartbreaking. And Josh brought it up, and Simon brought it up plenty of times on my stream because they're evil.
Yeah, it's mean. Gareth, let's talk about some top 10
go ahead.
for you, mate.
How do
you feel about it all?
Space Marines are definitely going to be prevalent. They're going to be there. It's either going to be one or two things. It's going to, I reckon, vehicle lists are going to be the new thing. If it's not that, you're going to see infiltrating Deathwing Knights. You'll see Dark Angels back that up with a lot of vehicles. If not, Leagues of Votan. I stress that not only because I got beat, but because of how cheap their units got. With a friend called Jack, he's a massive fan of Leagues of Votan, and as much as I love the guy, he's calling me up all the time, going, "Do a gun idea, do a gun idea, do a gun idea," and it's great. It's great to see that there's a shift, but when something is so easy to achieve, it's not fun. You know, I the same as a lot of people. I'm the same as Simon. We, all three of us, we play one army. You know, and I don't want to take the meta list. You know, as soon as I saw the codex, I went 3 librarians straight away. Everybody's running 3 librarians. I'm not saying it's my idea, but you see where the power lies. And now, I don't want to take 3 librarians anymore because everyone's taking 3 librarians. So it's a case of, it's the same as back in the day when you've got, how many Dread Knights do you have? And you go, yeah, I'm sorry, dude. So it's, but no, I reckon Leagues of Votan and Space Marines for me. Eldari will still be up there, but they're just not going to be as popular as them.
So Stephen, we're going to move on to you, mate. Where do you think, what are your takeaways from this week's meta review?
I do think Space Marines will become more popular. I do think the downside, though, on that is that Eldari like shooting Space Marines, and so if more people are taking them, then we'll see more wins from maybe fewer Eldari players. It's gonna be everything else is kind of like playing against them. It really is going to depend on which one does well. Like, I mean, the truth be told is that the Tyrannid Codex came out and it hasn't really impacted in the way we thought it might, because no one's come up with the, in quotes, cookie cutter list to use yet. And I think it'll take a couple of weeks before the Space Marine one is ready. So talking of big tournaments, thinking Coventry, Leicester, UKTC type thing, it might be that Coventry, the Space Marine list isn't set yet. But for Leicester, we'll see what it actually is, whether that is the White Scar Wolves or whether that's just horrible Iron Hands, heavy vehicles, and being very difficult to kill.
Well, I suppose time will tell, right?
Yeah, frustratingly.
Hey, I plan on using that Iron Hands attachment for a unit, for literally an army-wide of dreadnoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's so excited. Look at him. He's so happy about it. It's
Oh
great.
yeah.
He's so happy. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up now. I want to say a massive thank you for joining us tonight. Sorry about all the technical issues we've had, but it's been an absolute blast having you both on. You've been absolutely
Thank you.
hilarious. And we've really enjoyed having you come and just chat with us about it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Yeah. Sorry for swearing.
No, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry
The
about
first one didn't get picked up, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah, remember they can hear you.
Yeah,
But we're playing the technical
yeah.
difficulties on Gareth anyway with his stupid phone. Oh, what's that?
Keep my
Monkey
phone
fucking
alone.
doorknob.
So we're gonna wrap it up. I want to thank you everybody for watching. We're going to be back next week again. Obviously, we're going to be Rumoring Meta. We've got another guest coming on. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. Obviously, every like and every subscribe that you do, that just helps us grow as a channel, and we really appreciate everything that you do for us. From us here at Black Crow Gaming, we just want to say goodbye. See you guys later, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Ladies, gents, ladies, everybody.
Thanks. See ya.
And we're going to glitch. Bye.